With ZModeler Crease, when I export the program like 3D Studio Max, the creases are gone. Is there a way to retain it outside of ZBrush? Yes. So what you were going to want to do when you export this out of side of ZBrush, use the, at least it works for Maya. I can't speak for 3D Studio Max. I haven't used that program in 5 or 6 years, but in Maya, what you can do, for instance, if I was to go over here and do like crease polygroup, that's under the geometry crease menu, or we can just do like a crease tolerance here. If I export this as an FBX, it will retain that. And how you do that is you go to Z plugin here, Fbx Export. And then when you go over here, you can do visible or selected. It's selected in this case is what I would do. But you can do visible. It'll do all your visible subtools. And then any creasing you have will retain in the FBX. Also any vertex color. You know, if you go over here to tool export, it does like an OBJ or any of these. The OBJ export, when you import an OBJ, it won't retain your vertex colors. But if you import an FBX, it will retain your vertex color. So you can bring your poly paint in and out of ZBrush now with the FBX. So use FBX. I would have modeled into Maya by that moment already. And that's the thing too, is we're going over the basics of ZBrush. So, and also I'm discussing this thing. So if I'm not sitting here talking to people and I'm just taking a cube and modeling it, by all means use whatever program you want. I prefer to stay in ZBrush and just use ZModeler because, and there's also a lot of nice cool things in ZBrush like this type of functionality that I can't do in Maya. Not to say Maya's a bad modeler, I use it all the time. But we go to like insert single edge loop here and here, and then I can, you know, alt tap these ones and then I can just pull this in. So if I'm trying to make these shapes here, that's another option for you, as well as stuff in Maya that's really difficult to do, like insert. You can control multiple edge loops like this. I mean, you can do that in Maya. Let's go ahead and do specified elevation 0. So you can kind of pull this here and then tap here, and then you can alt tap these ones, and then you can go over here to like delete a single poly, and then I can go ahead and like bridge 2 holes here, and I can go ahead and mark this as a spline, or I can tell it, hey, you know what, I want that to be a circle, optimal curvature and optimal resolution. I can just tap and just save that setting right there. So that's really easy to do in ZBrush, as well as if I want to do that on 2 polygons here, I can just do bridge, connected polys, circle, specified curvature 100, 8 triangle sides, and just do stuff like that. So stuff like this would be a pain in the ass to do in Maya, right? Or even punching through objects. If I want to go through here and do like Q mesh, a single poly, and then alt tap these ones and then just pull through, boom, I'm done. I don't have to go delete and bridge and then bridge and then bridge and then bridge, or close holes and then, you know, go and connect these edges up. That would be ridiculous. I can just go through here and be like, gone, you're gone. Oh, you know what, I want to connect these two, so I'll just Q mesh a poly here. If I rotate these around, I can just connect those back up because QMesh will do that for me and I'll have to bridge them. Another, you know, and even clipping things is pretty easy in ZBrush too. If you want to clip to like a perfect circle, you can just clip these things. Oops, let's do Control Alt here. You can clip to a perfect circle that way. Of course, we're going to need more edge resolution if you want to do that all the way around. But again, just don't confuse me discussing ZModeler and showing you guys the basics with me actually using ZModeler. That's a different story. And it's a lot easier and a lot more controllable than stuff you can do in Maya, as well as this kind of functionality here. So if we hit D to go into dynamic mode, you can do this in Maya. You can hit 1, 2, and 3, and that'll kind of, if you hit 3, it'll kind of go into the sub D mode here. Let's go ahead and do an uncrease all. However, what I tend to do in ZBrush here, I'm in solo mode here, if I'll go over here and I'll do this crease tolerance here, and in Maya you can do creasing as well. And you do Shift D, you can hop out of this mode. So you can drop our crease tolerance down. There we go. So now we can kind of get this crease going like so. But in Maya, the creasing is a little bit, I don't know, you have to select the edges and make, oh, the other thing too is polygroups. I love polygroups. Like instead of using selection sets, I can just use polygroups. If I want to change these polygroups, I can just go over here to crease or group by normals. And now I've got all these different faces. You're making selection sets in Maya, horrible, terrible. I hate it. Now it's not. And now this is just my opinion. So your mileage may vary. Also, the creasing is a little bit limited. So if I go into Maya and I crease, it's either on or off. You can do crease levels to a certain point, like 1.062, and then when you subdivide, it'll uncrease. I find ZBrush's crease and crease levels much more dynamic and easier to use. So if we go over here to geometry, you're going to see we have crease levels in here. And then also our dynamic is what we're going to be playing with here. So I've got my crease level set to 15 and my dynamic set to 2. So you're going to see we got faceting over here. So when I preview this at 4, there we go, nice and smooth, but these are very creased. So what I'm going to do is drop my crease level down to 2, smooth so to the 4. hop out of there, and now I can kind of dial in those things. And again, it's just a preview. So if I do Shift D, you know, we can still go in here and model this stuff. And then we'll just run another crease tolerance here and then hit D. And it's always going to update with that. If I want my crease level at 3, smooth subdiv at 4, it's going to tighten up those edges just a little bit. Alternatively, you could also, let's go here and initialize this thing. Q cube here, and then we'll do unify. So another alternative to that is instead of doing, if you're just doing hard surface stuff like this shape right here, and I guess we could use this, we can go over here to our crease level. Instead of turning on dynamic with smooth subdivs where it averages the vertices, we're going to turn smooth subdivs down to 0. We'll use Q grid. So we can turn Q grid up to like 2 or 3. We can change the coverage. So we're getting kind of an automatic built-in bevel, and you can use chamfer, bevel, or both, and you can change those values here. So what you can do now is while you're going through and Q meshing this stuff, as long as you're keeping it, if you just know you're going to be modeling like mech stuff or very QB stuff, you can just go through here and then start Q modeling the stuff out. Let's see, Q model this out, and then you don't have to do that. You can go like Q mesh polygroup all or polygroup island. If you do polygroup all the polygroups you have available to you will start Q meshing out. If you go to polygroup island, you can go through here and do this, and then through here you can do like polygroup, polyloop, and now we have a selection set here that I can now Q mesh polygroup island and just do this type of thing. And while we're doing that, we're maintaining that bevel that we have. I can do Shift D, turns it off. I can do D again, turns it back on. You can go through here and modify it. So a lot of flexibility and functionality through there. Also, if you want to go through here and say, I want to poke a hole through here, so I'm going to go to split point. You can split a point here. If you want to split another point that's the exact same size, again, just tap through here, and now you can do Q mesh polygroup all, and now you just pull this back through. That kind of thing, and then you hit D. And now this, in this particular case, since this is a round object, the Q grid is not going to work that well, so this is where I would go from Q grid to a smooth subdiv, and then I would just do a crease tolerance here, and then I would go in here and play with my crease level. So I'd like crease level of 3, smooth subdiv of 4, and now I get a nice bevel on my object here, and those circles are nice and round. So, okay. Oh, by the way, if you're just joining us, if you go over here to the ZBrush Central, if you do ZBrush Central beta testers, Google ZBrush 4R8 beta testers, you can go down to page 4, and then this is kind of what we're going over.